Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Chrono Show. Today I'm going to be counting off the top 5 Pokemon that desperately need to evolve in the new Pokemon X and Y games. This could be just because their design feels like it could be upgraded a bit, or because they're simply outclassed by other Pokemon of the same type. So without further ado, let's go. Number 5 is Rapidash. Ever since I started playing Pokemon, I felt like Rapidash just should be a Pegasus. It already has the unicorn horn, so why shouldn't they just add some wings and make it cooler? And also, since the new fairy type is coming out, this would give them even more reason to make it a Pegasus, because Pegasuses are like fairies. Also, it would make it even more useful than a Fire Flying, because Fire Flying is a pretty useless type in the metagame because it is completely destroyed by Stealth Rocks. However, if they made it Fire Fairy, it would be immune to Dragon, and it would not take quad damage from Stealth Rocks. This would not only be an awesome design, it could possibly be pretty useful in the metagame. Number 4 is Lapras. Lapras is another 4th generation Pokemon that just is outclassed by other Pokemon of the same type. Ice Water is just a pretty common type. There's other Pokemon that have more useful abilities or more useful stats than Lapras of the same type. Lapras is decent in a Hail team, but it's just not that great. It's a decent wall, but it's outclassed, and there are much better options. However, it could evolve, and as you can see in this picture here, that it's an awesome fan-made picture that I came across, it could drop the Ice subtype and give it a Steel subtype. So Water Steel would be a very unique type, not as common as Water Ice by any means, and it could have very interesting strategies. It might not be able to be used in a Hail team, but maybe a Rain team might have a new ability, some new moves, and it would also probably be an even better wall because a Steel type is a very, very, very good wall type. So, moving on. Number 3 is Skarmory. Skarmory is another Pokemon that is good. It's actually probably better than any of the first ones that I've mentioned. However, Skarmory it has no offensive capabilities whatsoever. Really, all it ever does is set up spikes and Stealth Rocks. It has pretty much no other use. Its attacking stats are below average. Even though Steel is a pretty wall-y type, with the Flying type, it could have some good offensive capabilities because Flying has some good moves like Brave Bird, which Skarmory actually gets. It just can't take advantage of it. However, if it evolved, it could be more offensive oriented and could deal out much more damage with moves like Brave Bird. It could also probably get a Steel Wing. Steel Wing would also make it a lot more offensive and deal out some major damage while walling at the same time. This one would be even more useful than Skarmory, and the design would look really cool because Skarmory looks very plain. This new one, like in this fan-made picture, would probably look pretty awesome. I just realized that I forgot to correct the spelling on Skarmory because my computer thinks the Pokemon names aren't real. Yay! Moving on. Number 2 is Sableye. Sableye is my brother's favorite Pokemon, and ever since 3rd generation, he's been saying that thing needs to evolve, and I totally agree. Ghost Dark is a type with no weakness. However, I believe with Fairy type coming out, it will. That's what I've been told. At least I don't actually know the entire typing chart for Fairy, but whatever. It's still an interesting type. It has a cool design. It, once again, just looks very plain. And if it evolved, it could be a lot more offensive oriented and defensive oriented because Sableye has pretty weak stats. Really, the only thing Sableye is good for in the metagame these days is trolling people, which it's actually quite good at, because it can get taunt and all those status-inducing moves. That's very annoying. I actually faced off against quite a bit of them, and they don't really hurt you. They just annoy the heck out of you. So I think that Sableye would have some pretty good options when it evolves. It looks like it'd probably be a physical attacker. You could probably teach it Shadow Claw, some dark moves. It'd just be a very, very, very interesting Pokemon, and probably more offensive oriented than Spiritomb, who is of the same type. Spiritomb could be the wall, and Sableye could be the attacker, or stabilized evolution, rather, whatever he'd be called. So, number 1 is Dunsparce. Dunsparce has always intrigued me, mainly because he just is so useless. Unlike Magikarp, who evolves into Gyarados, which is like a juggernaut, Dunsparce is useless and stays useless. It does nothing helpful. However, in the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, Dunsparce had an extremely prominent role. He was one of the main characters, even though I never used him. I just used Virizion instead. But, whatever. Dunsparce still played a major role, so I think that could maybe even foreshadow an evolution. And let me tell you, that fan-made evolution is by far my favorite of any of the fan-made evolutions I've ever seen. That thing just looks awesome. I'm thinking it'd be maybe normal fairy, possibly normal dragon. Normal dragon would be pretty sweet. Because that'd be a very, very, very interesting type. It could probably be maybe a mixed attacker, special attacker, something along those lines. I could see it getting some metagame use, because it could really just pull a Gyarados. It could, by becoming extremely useful after being an extremely useless basic Pokemon. So, these are my top 5. Leave a comment what your top 5 would be. So, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.